From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordeau, and this is your News 8 Daily for Friday, April 17th. I'm back. My voice is better. I'm sorry that I had to miss for a few days. Weather today, it's going to be really nice. Warm, breezy conditions. Highs are going to be in the low to mid 80s. The thing is, though, you're going to want to enjoy today because later on tonight, storms move in. There's going to be a bit of a wind of change, rain tomorrow morning, and the temperatures are going to start to drop this weekend.
Central Indiana. Wish TV is now live on YouTube TV and Hulu Live, offering more hours of local programming than any other station. Search for Wish TV or look for CW8 on both YouTube TV and Hulu Live to find us. Watch local news, sports, and lifestyle shows live from Wish TV. You can still catch Wish TV free over the air or stream it live on WishTV.com and on the free Wish TV mobile apps. Wish TV, available in more places for the latest news, weather, and sports.
Businesses could soon face fines for knowingly hiring workers who were in the country illegally. Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita made that clear during a press conference yesterday. News 8's Kat Sandoval reports.
This is the Signia Hotel construction site in downtown Indianapolis. Attorney General Todd Rokita announced his office enforcement of the Fairness Act right in front of it. He says the location is symbolic as his office plans to focus on construction companies and job sites. Enforcement of the Fairness Act is set to begin July 1st. It'll mark the first time in the state's history that businesses will be financially penalized for employing workers in the country illegally.
We do expect whatever kind of operation you run to have it be run fairly, and that means that you hire Hoosiers. You at least hire U.S. citizens, and you do not try to exploit cheap labor from people who shouldn't be here in the first place.
Rokita says the goal is to crack down on what he calls underground economies and labor trafficking in the construction industry.
There's a right way and a wrong way to do things. This is not a union or a non-union issue. This is about workers. This is about doing what's right. This is about paying their fair share. Central Midwest Carpenters Union representative says both union and non-union companies are being undercut by competitors who take advantage of low-waged workers in the country illegally. I've seen workers hanging drywall for as little as 15 cents a square foot. And if you do the math, that's not a lot. And there's no overtime, there's no insurances, there's no workers' compensation insurance. These workers are in a completely exploitive business model. Construction workers I spoke with say they fear losing more coworkers and taking on additional responsibilities. The Fairness Act goes beyond construction sites. It also requires schools, government agencies, and law enforcement to cooperate with ICE. Critics say it could lead to racial profiling. I asked Rokita about those concerns.
Well, I'm not going to worry a thing about that. We're going to go where the facts lead. If there's a certain demographic that's being labor trafficked more than others, do you think they care? That we're profiling them because they're a certain color? We wouldn't be doing that. We're profiling anything or any job site because it's labor trafficking.
The Attorney General says he will rely on tips and referrals from the public. I'm Kat Sandoval with Wish TV, WishTV.com.
A state panel has signed off on a $200 million cash infusion for Indiana's child care voucher program. News 8's government reporter Garrett Berquist explains how this sets up a larger debate over the vouchers going into the next budget season.
Brown administration officials say this won't clear everyone off the child care voucher waiting list, but it will help a lot of them. The move adds $200 million to an existing contingency fund within the state budget. The governor's office says the money will pay for 14,000 new child care vouchers. Children who have siblings that already receive vouchers will get first priority. Infants and toddlers are next in line.
What we're doing here is we are increasing the demand side of the child care space. And we as an office and as an agency understand that by increasing the amount of CCDF vouchers in the child care space, that we are also cognizant of the operational decisions that child care businesses on the supply side will need to make to increase supply by reopening classrooms, hiring staff, things like that.
Representative Ed Delaney says he worries providers might raise rates anyway and still put child care out of parents' reach. The vouchers are limited to families that make less than 135% of the federal poverty level. That's $43,000 a year for a family of 4.
We're increasing the number of kids who can be enrolled at an inadequate rate. Can I say that again? The rate has been inadequate, which is why people have closed. So if the family has the money and the provider finds enough families who have the money to supplement the state, then maybe it works.
Brown administration officials say the governor plans to ask for an additional $200 million per year for the vouchers in the next budget. That would mean a total of $480 million over the next 2 budget years. They admit they can't guarantee that figure, especially if proposed federal voucher cuts go through.
I can't sit here and promise that we're going to put billions of dollars in this fund because I got 149 other members that helped make that decision. But I did say when we did Senate Bill 4 that I'll continue to work with these folks and see what we can come up with in 2027.
The expanded funding for child care vouchers should be available around late May. At the State House, I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
IMPD says the man wanted for a murder on the Southwest Side is now in custody thanks to a community tip. Police say 39-year-old Javon Cushenberry was taken into custody yesterday. Officers say he is the suspect in a deadly shooting that happened on Westbrook Avenue. A woman was killed and a man was injured. Police say state marshals asked the community for help finding Cushenberry on Monday, even offering a reward in the case. So far, prosecutors have not announced any formal charges against him. The mayor of Lawrence, Deb Whitfield, is sharing her vision for the future of the city. Her State of the City address yesterday was focused on community growth and development, along with public safety. She also spoke about the Live Longer in Lawrence initiative, which focuses on reducing barriers in healthcare for neighbors.
In Lawrence, we are not in the business of ideas that sits on the shelf. We are turning vision into momentum. We are making plans and putting them into action. We are taking opportunities and turning them into results.
Mayor Whitfield says the city of Lawrence will also focus on arts and culture, ensuring everyone who lives in Lawrence feels connected to the community. Petitions are circulating to make Whitestown a city. It could be up for voters to decide in November. I-Team's Tim Spears explains.
How would it change the area? I mean, what is going to be different?
Ramona Carnahan has already seen a lot of change over the last 4 years living in Whitestown.
The farms disappearing, the housing that's coming up so quickly, and more people, I guess, moving into the area.
The Boone County town is booming, with a population of nearly 15,000 expected to double in the next 10 years.
Lots of construction, lots of cool things coming to Whitestown.
Town Council member Dan Patterson says turning Whitestown into a city could help handle that change.
This got brought up because people had questions about the way we govern.
All town council members are collecting petition signatures. While not openly advocating one way or the other, Patterson said the council wants to spend the next several months explaining how this could impact neighbors.
Largely, they may not notice anything at all.
Instead of a city manager appointed by the town council, there would be a mayor elected by the voters, plus new at-large council seats and changes to public safety administration. Patterson said the change would also give Whitestown more annexation power around its borders and financing flexibility.
We're obviously a different community than we were when Whitestown was founded, and our growth has been exponential.
There is some early opposition, with a website calling to keep Whitestown a town, but the petition needs less than 400 signatures to send the issue to the town council, which would then approve the question for voters like Ramona to decide in the next election.
And I think it would be fine, but I would like to see how it develops.
The required number of signatures will need to be submitted to the county clerk by August to make it on the November ballot. In Whitestown, which could soon be the city of Whitestown, Tim Spears, I-Team.
President Trump says the 10-day ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel is now in effect. The Israeli and Lebanese governments agreed to the ceasefire after more than a month of war between Israel and the Iran-backed Hezbollah militant group. Israel has staged a ground invasion in southern Lebanon, which Israel says it will continue to occupy during the ceasefire. Now, Hezbollah says that gives Lebanon the right to resist. Nearly 2,200 people in Lebanon have died since the fighting began in early March. Now to the war in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz stalemate, which means jet fuel supplies are low. Now airlines are scrambling to make adjustments ahead of summer travel. John Lawrence reports.
The 2026 summer travel season could be full of headaches.
Supply and demand are the undefeated champions of business and economics.
Jet fuel prices have rocketed upward since military action against Iran began, and travelers are going to be picking up part of the tab.
This is a dire situation for airlines if they don't cut flights and raise prices for flyers.
The International Energy Agency says Europe has roughly 6 weeks of jet fuel on hand, and officials say if oil supplies remain stuck in the Strait of Hormuz, some planes could be grounded.
The price of jet fuel's up north of 40% since this war started, and airlines are starting to cut flights.
The ripple effect could also produce other travel-related problems.
Routes that are going between two cities that aren't necessarily hubs. You might have to go around, get inconvenienced. You might have fewer nonstop flights and more delays as well.
And analysts say it may be a while before things return to normal.
Once the straits open up, it takes time to unclog the 800 tankers that are there, get them to the places they need to be, and then get the refineries back open and processing all this fuel.
I'm John Lawrence for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Happening today, the man accused of shooting and killing conservative political activist Charlie Kirk is due in court. Tyler Robinson's attorneys are set to argue that biased news coverage could taint potential jurors in his aggravated murder case. Robinson wants a judge to ban cameras from the courtroom entirely and says live broadcasts of the prosecution are violating his right for a fair trial. Prosecutors are looking to seek the death penalty for Robinson if he is convicted. Robinson has not entered a plea yet. Police have arrested singer David in connection to the death of a teenager whose body was found inside a vehicle registered to him. Los Angeles police say 21-year-old David Burke is being held without bail. Officials found the body of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez in September of last year after receiving reports of a foul odor coming from an impounded Tesla. The Tesla, registered to the singer, was found abandoned in the Hollywood Hills. Hernandez has been missing since April of 2024. Investigators will present the case to the district attorney's office on Monday for consideration of charges. The Artemis II crew got a chance to speak about their mission nearly a week after their historic trip around the moon. The 4 astronauts took questions for the first time since their return, revealing new details about their 10-day mission. Sherelle Hubbard reports.
A mission to study the moon's surface and carry out science experiments has taken on a deeper purpose.
We wanted to go out and try to do something that would bring the world together, to unite the world.
NASA's Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen journeyed more than 250,000 miles from Earth, completed a record-breaking lunar flyby, and witnessed a total solar eclipse from beyond the moon.
When the sun eclipsed behind the moon, I think all 4 of us, I turned to Victor and I said, I don't think humanity has evolved to the point of being able to comprehend what we are looking at right now, because it was otherworldly and it was amazing.
Jeremy Hansen explained how moved he was by the gravity of the situation.
The sense I had was this sense of fragility and feeling small, infinitesimally small, but yet this very powerful feeling as a human being.
One of the riskiest phases of flight was the re-entry, when astronauts hit Earth's atmosphere at more than 30 times the speed of sound. Glover described the jarring moment when the Orion capsule went into freefall after a set of parachutes broke away.
If you dove off a skyscraper backwards, that's what it felt like for 5 seconds.
According to NASA, the unprecedented trip into deep space was as captivating to the public as it was valuable to science.
We've done this together. We took your hearts with us, and your hearts lifted our hearts.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
The CEO of Live Golf says the 2026 season will continue as planned. He did not address reports that the league's funding from the Saudi Arabia's public investment fund is in question and may be getting pulled. Live Golf has already played 5 events this year, none of which were in the United States. The league is scheduled to appear at the club at Chatham Hills here in Indiana, in Westfield, in August. The Fishers Event Center is hosting the very first Big Ten volleyball tournament this fall. The 15-team postseason format will crown a Big Ten champion for the first time in the league history. Top programs from around the country will compete in a week-long bracket, ending with a championship match on November 25th. Officials say the event highlights the growth and popularity of college volleyball and will make Fishers a national destination for the sport. The Pacers will face the Denver Nuggets in Mexico City in November. The NBA announced the game yesterday. The game will be the 35th NBA game in Mexico since 1992. That's most games in any country outside of the U.S. and Canada. The matchup in Mexico City will be on Saturday, November 7th. This has been your News 8 Daily from Wish TV. I'm Hannah Mordeau. Watch us on Wish TV and wishtv.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.